Hey guys, this is King's Kitchen. This is your host, King Cook, and I'm joined here today by a good old friend by the name of Sundog. He hails from New Zealand. Say hello, Sundog.
Yo, what's up, boys? How we doing?
So, we met through, to be specific, through Kill Bill the Rapper's old Twitch streams where he would play some video games, maybe make some beats, and we'd be all in the chat talking to each other, and we made a nice little group chat. A lot of the people you might hear on here, I met through there or through those people I met on there. So, yeah, we'll tell you a bit more about how we met today. That group chat was pretty interesting in the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah, dude. Because the whole reason that group chat came about was that, was it Pinky?
It's Pinky, yep.
Yeah, she was claiming that she was going to send Bill a whole bunch of money, and she wanted each to send a video message, I think, to her.
A hundred messages for $100 sub or
Yeah,
something like that.
that was. I don't think anyone actually sent a video, right?
It never happened.
I remember I heard about it. I was like, "There's no way she's actually sending like that money."
Yeah, and she said like, "Oh, or just like come up with a message or something." And like I said I would, but I just never did it.
She never went through with it, man.
No. And then the group chat now is in shambles. Like
Oh,
she
yeah.
said something that was really scary and concerning and then left, and then Eoth, the leader now, and like nobody talks in there except like once in a while.
I feel so bad because I really liked like chatting in that group chat, like during the streams and stuff, when I wanted it to be like, just that small group, and it was a great time. It's empty as fuck.
Yeah, I remember we'd be like talking in there. It's like, oh, let's go back to the Twitch chat, and then just never did it because we were the people we wanted to interact with anyway.
Yeah, for sure. There was only a couple people who were actually active in it, right? Like it was, or maybe more like I guess like 10, but they were quite like there were more than 10 in the group chat. I'm pretty sure.
There was definitely at least a third of the population did not talk after the first few interactions. The people who actually like will still respond is NBA, who NBA, Keoth, me, you, Sparky, Upunya, Pinky until she just left and gave the power to
himself.
To Keoth, which is crazy because me and Sparky are making a joke about how he was gonna like first the group chat and then he's gonna usurp the whole stream, like Bill's Twitch stream, which is a little topical now. What happened recently, but more on that later. Nice little podcast trope. More on that later.
A little foreshadowing.
Yeah, but man. I feel like finding somebody through music is like a shared artist you can both relate to is almost like a guaranteed like you're gonna click with that person. Almost always.
And a lot of rappers, especially Kill Bill and Rav, what they rap about is very personal and very specific as well, a lot of the stuff. And so that anyone who can like people who like Kill Bill or Rav, generally a lot of time that means they are going through similar stages in their life a lot of the time, and like, especially with Rav's newest album, like that shit's intense. Like stuff he says just really had me shocked. Like that's very very personal stuff.
Yeah, and like
that one, like that's gonna bring people together. You know what I mean?
I was like, are you good? Like, do you need to talk to somebody? Like, did your girl know that you wrote this album? Like, this is some deep stuff. Like, especially was it Dead End? My gosh. Like that one line where it's like open up the kitchen drawer and grab the nut and then it like cuts off. I'm like, this is happening.
The one that personally shocked me the most was the second song on the album.
Oh, was it who? Hold on, let me. It's Me Never.
Yeah, dude, that song was, like some of the lyrics about like killing himself and stuff. I was like, holy fuck, this dude is struggling. Like, and this dude he's just putting it on the internet for everyone to see. Like, that's insane,
Yeah, Rav's an very interesting person. I would say very interesting background too.
Yeah, for sure.
Born into the USSR like weeks before it disbanded, in Russia specifically,
Oh,
and
damn.
like, yeah, and like he's obviously of like Asian descent, and then like he lives in London now, so he's seen a lot and experienced a
Yeah.
lot, and like came and met Bill. Like they met him and Bill met through Newgrounds when that was like a. It wasn't just a
Oh,
video. I
right.
mean, back then it was a lot of different things. It was like video games, animations, rapping. There was like
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had the little cliques and stuff, and they met each other. And then he came and visited Bill in America, and they just kind of became best of friends. Didn't start that way though, if because I'm sure you've heard them talk about it in their podcast, right?
I'm actually not 100% sure if I have, because I only got into their podcast more recently, and
Ah,
I haven't had that much time this year because it's been my final year of school, and so I haven't
yep,
really listened to heaps of them, to be 100% honest with you.
right. Um, just to make it short, when they met, it was kind of they were in different circles that didn't like each other, but like they would kind of reach out to do collabs, but then like there'd be beef between their groups, their circles, and then they wouldn't do it. Um, and then I guess all of a sudden they had a conversation one time and realized, oh wow, this guy's actually cool. Like both
Yeah,
parties, and then they would start like Skyping and FaceTiming just kind of all day. Like they would just kind of leave it on, and then, like one of them would be working on beats, so the other one's just listening. They'd just be talking. Like that's such a crazy thing. I can't imagine. Like just I guess where you're at, you just don't have any people that you can relate to on that level, and you just become friends with somebody on like the other side of the planet. Well, I guess I can relate to that a bit, huh?
you asked that podcast with the guy from fucking New Zealand, or
A place I would love to visit one day. It looks like a very
yeah,
beautiful country.
it fucking is, dude. It is cooking right now. I'm sitting in shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm overheating like mad.
Can't relate. It's getting colder here.
Yeah, dude, I bet, man. I bet. Yeah, that is crazy. Like, being in a call with someone for, like, just, the entire day, like, and, just going about your day with them in the call, I just cannot understand, like, I can't believe that. Like,
Yeah,
that must have got on really, really well for that to happen.
yeah. They like, and it's clear from their music that they kind of suffer from the same inhibitions to a degree, but just express them in different ways, and I think even view them and deal with them in different ways. Like
Yeah.
Bill, how do I put this? Rav's very raw about it. I think Bill.
Yep.
Well, this is kind of related to what's coming later, but he seems to, as he put it, he'd change it. He would describe situations in his real life but not use names or not be descriptive
Yeah.
enough that if someone heard it, they'd know it's them and then hate him.
Yeah.
Which
He's a lot more tricky about it. Like, he switches it up a bit. Whereas
yeah,
Rav, I want to fucking die.
basically, yeah, that's like the difference.
Like, that is what I was about to say. Is, Rav's very blunt, whereas Bill's a lot more, like, he romanticizes what he says a bit more. Like,
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
Because like when I listen to his music, it's more wistful and kind of
Yeah.
melancholy, whereas Rav, who loves using the term melancholy to symbolize his depression, he's definitely way more raw, and I think that's why I listen to Bill's music a bit more. Is because I've always loved wistful music. Like, have you heard of Kai Dreams?
I'm afraid I have not heard of Tiger.
Who else could I? I think that's why I like a lot of the like lo-fi music that has some words in it but not a ton, because it's like sad and melancholy, but like
Nostalgic.
it's always wistful. Like, I love this song. I might as well find it since I have my phone right in front of me.
Yeah.
But there's a line from it, and it's just like a whisper, and it's just like, it was just a dream. Do you think she could have loved me? And it's just like that kind of stuff, and that's more the same energy as Bill's kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like,
100.
but then Rav's just like, they tell me do better, be better. Who? Me? Never. Like that kind of thing.
Very easy to understand what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And his is more like, I feel like Bill's talks a lot about interactions with, like, how interactions with people have affected him, whereas Rav, how, like, interactions, like, with his own head have affected, like, how he fucked himself up, but like you know, like like his struggles within himself, whereas Bill's a lot is like with other people. I feel like at least that's what I've experienced from it.
You definitely dissected that more than I ever gave it enough time to. Because it was always like I love both their music, but I always find myself listening to Bill, and I think it's because I'm a very wistful person, very wistful soul, if you will. Even ever since a kid, I've always had this like magical world that existed outside my reality. All my stuffed animals had names and stories and interactions, and like always all the battles between them and stuff. And I've always been very imaginative. And the story I never finished, short story I'm writing that I want to finish, is kind of talking about that. And it's a fictional story that I don't want to spoil it, but basically it's about fiction and reality and an interaction between the two of them in a very specific situation with somebody else in my life at one point in high school. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm a college student. I this person was kind of in the same place I was. We both, and I love using this quote because I just came up with it one day. We both lived in fantasy to escape the reality we hated, like together. And I kind of, yeah, and I kind of shared that fantasy world I had as a child with them, and we kind of made one together, and that's why our bond was so unique. But that is all in the past, and that's a story for another day.
That is definitely echoing of or relatable to what Bill's. That sounds a lot like what Bill would make. Like that quote straight out of one of his songs, bro. All he needs a couple
Yeah, it kind of does.
and then it's fucking his new album, dude. Whenever that's coming out.
Yeah, on that subject, the reason we've been skirting around the Bill a little bit is for those of you who don't know. Recently, it came out that he was, I guess the best way to put it was a little unfaithful to Joe, his ex now. Basically, it was revealed only because their pet dog bumped his laptop that he'd been, let's say, securing some questionable content of a sexual nature from someone she knew under an anonymous name, and amongst other things, there's some other things, but I'll link the Twitter post in his apology and all that in the description of the video when this goes up. But very shocking to a lot of people. A lot of people took it very different ways. I saw some interesting. Yeah, how about you? You go ahead. What do you think was your first thought, your reaction when you saw this?
My first thought was, what he said was like what he did. He fucked up. He made a mistake.
Yep.
And his apology was really good. I think he apologized really well. I don't think he excuses, of course, but like it was very heartfelt. He said that he regretted his actions. They were messed up. And then he said that he was seeking therapy, and it was very heartfelt. And I was really like, this is good. He's obviously clearly regretted his actions, and he wants to become better as a person from this experience.
Definitely. I was in a little bit of shock because the first thing I saw was Rav saying, "I need some time to think." And my first thought, because of his new album, was like, oh my gosh, did this girl not like how raw he was to the album when she broke up with him? That was like my immediate first thought when I saw that tweet. And then I was like scouring the comments and nobody was saying what it was. They were all just saying like, da da da, like, just take your time. And I'm like, what are they talking about? And someone links Bill's tweet and I go and read it. And like, I don't think I'm the kind of person that puts people on a pedestal or holds someone, like has idols, because I don't really look up to anyone in that sense. Yeah. But my gosh, I didn't, for a second I thought I was in a dream. Because Bill just kind of represents, like, yeah, he makes some vulgar jokes and stuff, but like he just kind of represents a more innocent side of like, I don't know. He's very wholesome. I don't know how to put it. He's very wholesome. Yeah.
Very genuine, I definitely am in the same boat. I've never had like idols as such, but I wasn't aware I was looking up to this guy because he, since I discovered him in July of last year, he's like the only artist I've like constantly listened to. You know,
Yeah.
like, and all the stuff was like very compassionate, talking about how people have like fucked with him in the past. And I was like, I was trusting of him as a internet celebrity, if you will.
Yeah.
And reading that was I was like, fuck, man, that's really uncool.
Yeah, it was hard to swallow. Like,
Yeah,
I'm reading it and like, I don't know, I wouldn't say like vertigo, but like, the whole thing where people say like the world's like spinning around them. It
yeah.
almost felt like that. I remember it's like the whole like what's it called? Light bulb memory where like you remember where you were when some catastrophe happened. Like I was like standing in my like living room slash kitchen. I'm reading this and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
is happening right now. This is real. This is not a little game. And like it's not just what happened. And my gosh, it was horrible what happened. I feel horrible for Joe because it sounds like they were both like people who have insecurities and are vulnerable with each other and like trusted each other, and then this comes out and it's like wow, like yeah, my image of Bill is smeared, but like way more important than that, like how does Joe feel about this? And like
Mhm.
even bigger, well not even bigger, on top of that, Bill is a part of so many things that are happening. Like he was on Rav's album. Like it literally just dropped and the day after we hear this. And like immediately my mind went to Channel F, which is my favorite song from the album. And I'm like, that is the last we're gonna hear from him for a while because my gosh, is he canceled right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Like
no,
and
he's take a break. As he has, he's stepped back, hasn't he?
yeah, it's crazy to think about. They talked about cancel culture in one of their podcast episodes, and I think that's why Rav was so careful and articulate with how he dealt with it because they don't like cancel culture. They believe
Yeah.
people like it. You shouldn't like, and I agree. It shouldn't be like society as a collective just decides this person no longer deserves to make a livelihood because they messed up. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like, yeah, they obviously, if you don't feel comfortable personally, sure, don't support their stuff. But don't try to force everyone else not to, because maybe some people want to see them grow as a person and still think they should be able to do what they love as their career. Like,
Yeah.
because I want to see Bill come back. I'm glad that he sees that he needs therapy. He wants to get better. And it's not like, I'm not saying he came out and said this and he admitted that he was doing it because Joe made very clear because I dared to delve into the Discord. I kind of regretted it, but I got
Oh,
some good
shit, yeah.
information. Joe apparently was trying to make it very clear that he was not upfront about this. It's only because their dog happened to knock the laptop over and then she saw it. But yeah, it's also, this is in really bad taste. But he also made jokes about that dog stepping on his crotch several times, and he said he had it out for him. And little ironic, if you
Oh,
ask me. Little ironic.
oh, that is crazy. I'm gonna be 100% honest. I only found out about the tweet from when you messaged, when you sent it to the group chat.
Yeah.
I had no knowledge before that, and I probably wouldn't have had any knowledge because I don't really use Twitter
Right.
at all. No, I open up Twitter when I get messages from the group chat. That is literally the only reason I open it.
Right. That's kind of why I wanted to put it in there because I knew some
Yeah,
people
it
don't
was
really
good.
use Twitter that much.
I need to see that because I am very, I'm quite invested in them as a person. Like, like them as in Kill Bill and Rav. Like, I'm very, I like hearing about, stuff they're doing. And knowing that, I think I needed to hear that because if I was listening to their music without, or Bill's music without knowing that, it would have felt kind of wrong, like looking back once I found out. Because, I still listen to music regularly, but now there's a bit of a bitterness to it, unfortunately. Until they can come back as, a better person, and then I really don't think that music's ever going to sound like it used to.
Definitely not. Because, it always, the whole idea of wistfulness and Bill, he illustrates his paranoias differently. And when when this happened, my mind immediately went to my favorite song, I think, from Rav, Bill, and Square together, which was Celadon. And my mind immediately went to his verse when he said, where's it at? Where's the old Bill? When he says, "Oh, you watched me grow from out the vine that never cut me when I stuck you. I hope I never see the days of love me turn to fuck yous." Like, that is literally the first thing that popped in my mind when I saw that. I was like, my gosh, he knew. And this was how he was expressing it. And maybe that's not what he exactly had in mind, but he says stuff like that way too often that was not on his mind, that he was doing that, because apparently it was going on for years.
Yeah. Because
So, like,
there was that thing that he said where he was talking about how he took like a picture of a woman unknowingly.
Yep. That's the one that I was gonna refrain from, but
that was years ago, right? Like that was
yes.
Like that was a long time ago, and for him to not come clean about that, and for him to still have it in 2020 when it was like 4 or 5 years ago, it's insane.
Yeah, and he said that thing about like being sneaky and all, and it's like, wow, it's just really that like with how many times he says stuff like that in his songs, you know, at least half of those are specifically about that, and he just didn't want to say anything.
Yeah, like, especially recently, if he was paying for,
yep.
I think it was a fans, like, was it OnlyFans or something?
But it was like also somebody that Joe was friends with, and he was like using an anonymous name.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I was very disappointed.
Very much so. I said as much in my response to him, but I wasn't as hard on him in words. I expressed it a bit differently because people were kind of saying the same thing over and over, and I hate just being a voice in the crowd, so I tried to be very specific instead of just vague. So I think I remember like how I put it was more along the lines of like how did I put it? I basically said something along the lines of like, I personally think that everyone has evil inside of them, which I do, and that people are better or worse in different areas than other people the way it comes out. And I just wanted him to remember that I don't want him to feel lesser as a person. It's just a matter of he got caught, and that doesn't make it better. It's just a matter of like, I didn't want him to think like, I don't know, like the way that he talks in his songs, he thinks pretty low of himself, and I think he should for this. Absolutely. Like, clearly so. But it's just like, I don't want him to think like he's like on a very base level, not lower. It's just a matter that this is a struggle he has, and he happened to get caught. I guess that's the best way to put it. I firmly believe you cannot change your desires, only your actions, and only to a degree at that point. Even there.
Of course, this depends on how strong these desires are, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And they were obviously pretty strong with him, you know. And yeah, like you say, there's evil, and that, you know, that liking of being sneaky, that's an evil thing, especially in such a long-committed relationship.
Oh, definitely. And like, it just really sucks because I saw before she made like a new account that was private. She had one that was public, and she posted like this really nice tweet about him, like, oh, like, get yourself someone like this who's like sweet and talented and stuff like that. And like, looking back at that, I'm like, my gosh, this is just so sad. Like, they just both seemed like such wholesome people.
Yeah.
And like and then it turns out that like he's doing all this stuff, but like, yeah. So that's something I wanted to touch on in this episode, because I just felt like they inspired me so much to even think about making a podcast. Like, they were the first podcast I ever just kind of listened to, I think. You know, besides creepypastas, but that's really just a collection of readings. It's different. But I don't know. Like, I found Bill's music, strangely enough. Have you ever heard of Oliver Tree?
I have indeed. Overtree, he's classic. I don't personally like his music that much, but I know of.
Yeah, I didn't like it that much at the beginning, but it's one of those things where like the more you listen to it, at least for me, the more you listen to it, the more you like it. But on Spotify you can just hit like start radio for an artist.
Yeah, of course.
I was listening to one from him, and About Last Night from Ramona pops up, and
Wow.
I was like, what am I listening to? And not in a bad way. It's like you have this like classical jazzy music playing, and then this like deep monotone voice rapping over it, and there was like a part of my brain being tickled that had like never been activated before, and I was just drawn in.
And the
yes,
Fooly sample at the end is insane.
yes, that is what got me into watching Fooly Cooly. I was listening to this thing at the end, and I'm like, what in the world am I listening to? I need to know more.
Yeah, that's how I discovered it.
Yeah, my gosh, I love Fooly Cooly. Well, you know that. You've seen my profile picture.
I have indeed. I love it as well. I got entirely inspired to watch it from, I think it was About Last Night, but also I think there's a song at the end of Reason.
Yep.
Yeah, wait. It's I Trust You. The end of I Trust You has the song.
Oh, yeah. Also, I firmly believe that, what is it? What's the actual song called on Ramona? It's something, and then in quotations, in parentheses, The Overflow. I think Summertime, The Overflow.
Yeah.
I feel like there's some references in there, in my humble opinion.
I think there's a sample in that one as well, I think.
Oh, yeah. There definitely was.
Yeah. And yeah, once I heard those, I was like, what is this anime? And I managed to find it. It's not particularly easy, because Kill Bill, he's well known, but like you don't find that much about his music online.
Right. No, not at all.
Like you get maybe lyrics, and then there's maybe like one website which has anything more than that. And
yeah.
So I was searching for it, and I finally found it, and I watched it, and it is one of the weirdest animes I've ever watched.
Weird is a good word.
Weird in a good way. Like of course, because I think with anime, there's a different culture, like those shows are an entirely different culture to, American, like it's completely different, like, very different views in terms of like, like for instance, like there's a lot of like sexualization of like younger people.
Yes.
In those shows, because that's what the law is over there, is much lower age consent, and that's not present in Fooly Cooly, but it's just such a weird plot, the whole show, like, and crazy animation as well.
And references to other animes that I did not understand because I'm not very cultured in older anime.
Yeah, because it's like 2006, is it?
Oh gosh, yeah, it must have been. It was on Adult Swim back like a while ago.
Yeah, it's so old. But I was so sad when I finished episode 6 and I went to click on the next one and realized it was the last one. I was like, holy shit, this is the end of the show. Like I could not believe it.
It's basically a 2-hour movie.
It's basically, yeah.
It's 6 episodes of 20 minutes.
Yeah, I wonder if you could condense, like, I wonder if there's like a fan edit that's just a film. Because honestly, like,
it'd be pretty easy to piece it together.
Yeah. All you gotta do is filter out like some of the ending things, like probably, and then put it together, and you could probably get like an hour, 40-minute like movie.
Hey. Editing Cook here. Just wanted to let you guys know the following segment's gonna have some spoilers for Fooly Cooly, an amazing anime I highly recommend you go watch. You can find it for free on YouTube, and it's like 6 episodes that are 20 minutes long, so it's like literally a 2-hour movie. So like if you haven't watched it, what's wrong with you? Go do that right now. I'm gonna press. Press play here and put you back in the episode. I think it's literally. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, but between 5 and 6, that'd be a bit of a swing because there's like time skip in there. Because Haruko just like runs off with what is it, Battle Mechanica, whatever he's called. Oh my gosh, I just forgot my favorite character's name. I am so ashamed.
Do you mean like the robot? Like you mean
no,
like the
No. Let me do this.
Okay,
Mamimi.
Oh, right, yeah.
She called him like the god, like the weird, like the god of death's name or something like that. And
Yeah.
even like the Foundation started calling him that for some reason, which didn't make any sense if I remember right.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a lot
very
that makes.
odd though, but I love it so much.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's an
and I can also go
like
ahead.
anime. It's an essential anime, I think. I watch a lot of anime. Like I watch a shit ton of anime, and I got my friends into it, and I've recommended every single one of them to watch Fooly Cooly, and none of them have watched it, and it makes me so sad.
Wow,
Because,
they're really missing out.
yeah, and it's so short. You could watch it in one day so easily.
You could just sit down and watch it like a movie, like literally.
You watch it over dinner, dude. It's literally so short.
Yeah, it's I think the reason, well, I actually have it in my like cards, like my little bio in that I have a link to, but the reason I like it so much, I think, and I choose wow, I used to say his name right, Naota. To the reason I use Naota to like represent myself is because I relate to that. Well, Bill explained it in a way that I'd also read online. Well, he didn't explain it too much. I saw a video explaining. Apparently, it's kind of hard to figure it out if you just watch it yourself, unless you watch it several times. But every single character is a symbol and representation, besides Naota, of like an adult type of adult you shouldn't be, and like how adults all have their own flaws, and how in a way they all act like kids, because like everything in the show is a symbol of growing up, and Naota's trying to grow up prematurely, and then like the moral at the end is like, no, don't rush it. Like
Oh,
stay a kid as long as you can.
that's crazy. I never thought
Yeah,
about that.
like his dad, bad example. Haruko, bad example because she's like it's like carefree to an extreme, like a bad extreme. Mamimi is giving up and like just like sinking into your sadness. And the guy with the eyebrows, I forget what his deal was specifically, but like he's not a good representation of being an adult either. And like every single thing in the show represents that, and even the symbol on his head when he fuses with the robot. Oh, is it Ponto? What's he? I don't want to keep saying it wrong, but the symbol on his head says like I think it means adult, and then in the end with the whole like final fight and all that, the symbol he gets on his head means kid when he like turns into that red thing with the two guitars. Yeah, that's when he like recognizes he doesn't like he wants to be a kid, and then like Haruko like wants him to leave, and then she realizes something, and she's like, oh, whatever, and just leaves. Which the ending is what makes me hate the fact that there's a sequel so much, and I refuse to watch it
I've
because
never touched it. Yeah.
I won't do it because Haruko comes back and then like is talking to like some group of girls, and it's like, well, I don't. Literally, whatever it's about, it will just take away from the integrity of the first. And then I saw somewhere that it's like this is not the same Haruko, and I'm like, if it's gonna be like that, I really don't want to watch it.
Yeah,
Like,
it just if what you're saying about the metaphors and stuff. Like I remember the end of the show. It just finished it so perfectly.
yeah, it
Like
did.
like he's like because there's all the smoke going around, right?
Yeah.
Also, I remembered. You should definitely put a spoiler in case people haven't seen this shit. Like a warning.
I was hoping. I mean, I feel like we were vague enough. I don't know. I feel like we were pretty vague. I don't think we spoiled any plot points.
We could just in case people want to not have anything, you could just put a bit of a warning beforehand. Just because I would hate to not have seen this show and listen to this.
I'll try to edit it in. I'll be like, hey, editing King Cook here.
Yeah.
Wait, you know what? Let me say it right now, and then I'll edit it in later. I'll move it back.
Just put the whole thing in.
Yeah, okay, so
insert last minute low effort spoiler warning you have previously been forced to endure.
So yeah.
that fucking like ruffling was perfect.
I was hoping that was gonna come out good.
Yeah. Okay, back to what I was saying. The ending, like it finished it so perfectly. When there's all the smoke outside, and he's like, he's accepting that, like he's accepting everything. Like he seems to be understanding himself a lot better than at the start. And I don't know, it just was was a very beautiful finish, and I thought this is the perfect ending. And I'm sad it's only 6 episodes, but I think that it shouldn't have been any longer. I think
Right.
it's done pretty well.
Yeah, I think I agree in the sense that I love world building, and every time something ends, to me, it's like, well, you could have done so much more with that world. But sometimes the story is more important than the world you built to put it in, and in this
Yeah.
case, that's what it is.
And then there's anime like Naruto, where it's all about the world building, and it's like 800 episodes, and it's just
Yeah,
like
where it
it's
could have
bad.
ended way much earlier. There's, oh my gosh, I have a lot to say about Naruto. Well, not a ton. Okay, so I grew up playing the games, right?
Yeah,
Just
Ultimate.
like Ultimate Ninja 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
And then I also played Chronicles, but all of it took place in the first series. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like the games just don't do the story justice at all.
Really?
And I went and watched the anime two years ago or so. And the first one, I stopped at the filler, but I was again, spoiler warning. I'm not going to say much, but if you haven't watched Naruto at this point, I don't think you're going to. But I still highly recommend that you do. but basically, like, it starts off. He knows like the reason he's such a troublemaker is because nobody cares about him. With his parents, would not be too spoilerly, are not in his life because of things that happened with the demon. They're spirits. Demons are in the second series, and it's clarified that there's a difference. But the fox spirit he has inside of him has something to do with his parents not being around, and like everyone makes fun of him. And like Iruka Sensei, the one who's like basically the equivalent of your high school teacher if you're a ninja, like he's really hard on him, but it's because he can relate to him because he was in a similar situation. And like he gets the first person who cares about him and like is rooting him on. And then from then on, still everyone thinks he's a loser, and he has to fight hard and harder to like be on the level with them. And he makes Sasuke his rival, and like he starts earning respect first from just them, like his squad, because they see what he can do. And then he comes back to the village, and everyone still thinks he's a loser. And then like he starts doing well in this tournament, and it's like everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, we were so wrong. Look at him. He's so much better now." And like that's kind of the peak of his character development, I think, because then he kind of stops letting it bother him. But it's kind of a silent transition, which I think in a way is good because it means it no longer bothers him enough to think about it. And then you have this weird arc at the end with Sasuke, and I don't want to get into detail, but like they just kind of retconned a bunch of stuff that they didn't show before, and like they make the whole bond with him important. And I get it. First, he just learned to be comfortable with himself, and then to be comfortable with like other people and earn their respect. And then the one person who refuses to respect him simply because of a whole like superiority complex, he wants his approval, I guess, but it comes in the form of like, I'm trying to be your friend and you're not letting me. And then there's this final fight, and like it should have ended right there. No Shippuden, no nothing. And like a lot of people will literally cut my head off for that opinion, but like, man, all Shippuden is like, hey, you know that show that was really good? Yeah, let's make them older and make cooler jutsus, but also drag it out way too long and have a ton of filler because we're ahead of the manga and all this stuff. And like, yeah, I know it's good. Everyone tells me there's good stuff in it, but I'm satisfied with the story that I only got pieces of in the games, just wrapped into one little anime that's like 300 episodes long, if I remember correctly. And I like it like that. And I don't want, I just really don't want to watch Shippuden, and people get really mad when I say that.
I've even got heaps of experience with Naruto because I only got into anime maybe 4 years ago. Yeah, like 2016, and I wanted to get a good backlog of like the more popular smaller ones. You know, like ones that aren't as long. So I haven't seen anything that's over like 60 episodes. You know, like I've seen like
Really?
Attack on Titan, Death Note, like Tokyo Ghoul, like a lot of the classics and stuff. But I've never really seen
I
anything.
see.
But soon, now that I'm done with high school, subtle brag, I have a lot of spare time. To get into whatever I want.
Yeah. I myself have not watched that many, but I guess since I've watched some somewhat longer ones, maybe I've watched about the same amount as you. I can literally count on two hands how many I've watched, and out of the ones that stand out, I would say I've watched Attack on Titan. New season just started. That's a little
Yeah.
exciting. I have to say the first episode, I don't want to spoil it. I guess it's fairly new. I found it underwhelming simply because it's
Yeah, it was
about
boring.
because like half the characters are ones I don't like because of things that happened before, and then half the characters are characters I don't know, and it's like, well, I supposed to enjoy that?
Yeah, I was watching it with a mate, and we were both kind of like, "Yo, this is boring as fuck." Like I
Yeah,
was like,
it's
"Who
like
the fuck are these dudes?" I did not give a shit. I was like, "Where all my bros at?"
yeah, it's like
from the first 3 seasons.
you just put the characters I already didn't like in Nazi costumes. Whoop-de-doo, I already didn't like them. You don't have to try that hard. Like,
Yeah.
and then like let me think. Naruto, obviously the first series. I will not and did not and will never watch the entire final season. That is entirely filler. And because of the way Hulu split it up, it's 4 seasons, but apparently it's way more seasons than that, and like it's 2 seasons of filler, maybe, question mark, I'm not sure. But it's literally every episode is like, we have a lead on where to find Sasuke, and Naruto has to argue to get onto the mission. And then they find information that does not get them anywhere except onto another clue, which will never get them to Sasuke. And it's like, I already know the second series is when they finally find him again, and it's not even in like the beginning. So like, I already know what's gonna happen.
That's why I stick to shorter ones, because they don't have filler. Attack on Titan has 0 filler episodes. You cannot miss
Yeah.
any episode without missing a crucial bit of information. Like you'll skip one and suddenly you'll be like, "What the fuck is going on here? What have I missed?"
Who are you?
Yeah. Who is this man that's fucking killing? Like, it's insane. I love it.
Giant hairy ape titan. Where'd he come from?
Yeah, I was gonna mention it. That was one I was gonna mention. Like, that was the first anime I ever saw, was Attack on Titan.
That's a really good introduction, and that's a high standard. That's a very high standard.
Oh, I guess I saw Pokemon when I was a kid, but not much.
Oh, I guess I should put that on my list too. I watched a bit here and there. I had the old, like the actual VCR tapes for Pokemon.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the Pokemon
you
movie.
existed
My
for-
gosh,
wow.
dude. I think the first Pokemon media I saw was the movie after playing the game, so that was an experience.
I have never ever seen a Pokemon movie, to my knowledge, and I'm so
listen.
sad about that.
The only one I would say watch the first one, and I don't mean that remake they made because I heard very disturbing things about it. Don't watch it. And when I say disturbing things, I mean one scene that ruined my childhood because it's the same scene as the first one, but Pikachu speaks.
I knew you were gonna fucking mention that. I've had people complain about that online so much, and dude, that is just not how Pokemon work, especially Pikachu.
No.
Like, that does not make any sense. I mean, I guess Alf can talk, but like, I feel like there's reasoning for that.
Yeah, I got scared because the way it was described to me is, oh, Pokemon talk now. And I'm like, wait, let me get this straight. Let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying that in the show, Pokemon talk now. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, that's really bad. But like, I think it was just that one thing from that one movie, and I don't know why they lied to me or just didn't know. Maybe they heard from someone else.
Maybe they did.
But yeah, Pokemon, just for the movies, just watch the first movie with Mewtwo, and when I heard the second one is also good, I saw bits and pieces. I think it's about the legendary birds, maybe, or maybe it's about no, actually, I think it's about Lugia and Ho-Oh, maybe.
Oh, that makes sense. They're like main Gen 2 legendaries.
I think that's what it was.
I am extremely into Pokemon games, or I have been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
like for instance, there was a period in time when I had a Pokemon game from every single generation, almost. I think
Yep.
except for like 2, and I had completed every single one that I'd played and put about 200 hours into each. And on my 3DS, because like until just a couple years ago, I only had a 3DS, so that was the only like. We had a PS3, but I spent all my time on this 3DS, and I have like 5 Pokemon games with like 200 hours on them. You know, like I've just sunk so much time into them. I'm extremely well versed on Pokemon, but I've still just barely seen any of the show or even any of the movies.
You know, I'm so happy you said that because I just got my like DS, DSi, 2DS, Game Boy back after like not having them for like 2 years, and I never finished Omega Ruby, and I'm kind of glad I never started, but more on that later. And I just started getting back into Moon, which I never finished.
That's a great game.
I just remembered vaguely being on some dock, like with like ships on it, and sure enough, it's where it was. When I started playing again, I was like, "Huh, not much has changed in 2 years."
Yeah.
But I have to say, I think what I've heard is that the term "old geners" refers to people that if you don't like black and white, you're an old gener. Anything past there, if you think it's like, well, they strayed away from Pokemon. But I love black and white a lot.
Yeah, I think the term is Gen 1ers. Basically, I think it's if you enjoy anything past Generation 3, then you're a fake fan. You know, that's what those kind of gatekeeping motherfuckers have,
Yeah,
which is
okay.
that's ridiculous. Because
It's so dumb.
the Pokemon, I think, I have to agree, the Pokemon looked the best in the first 2 generations. They were like the most...
The first
creative.
2?
3, personally, for me. I believe that,
Okay.
like, Ruby and Sapphire still have good Pokemon in them.
Yes. Oh, like the literal Pokemon, like how creative they were with them.
Yeah, because that's generally what the Gen 1er view is that then you know, they go, oh, you know, Trubbish and Vanillite, you know, which is the rubbish and Pokemon from Generation 5. And yes, those are bad. But these Gen 1ers don't think about the fact that, you know, one of the Pokemon in Generation 1 is a fucking rock with arms. Like,
and a Pokeball.
And a Pokeball that's upside down. You ain't saying much, pal.
Gen 1 is not a good thing to cite for creativity. They really, like, it's creative only in the sense that that was the first time it was made.
Yeah,
and like
one is going to be all creative.
Yeah, and of course. But then, like, obviously Steelix is a ripoff of, wow, this is bad. Am I a fake fan? What is he called? Onyx. Onyx. Wait, no, it's an evolution, isn't it?
Yeah, bro, what do you say?
I'm sorry. I forgot. Listen. I forgot that, like, was it Gen 3 that started introducing, like, evolved or pre-evolutions of old gens?
Yeah, Gen 4 was when they added... I think it was Gen 4 they added Steelix.
It was. Okay. Yeah. I think it was Gen 2 that added baby versions, right? And then Gen 4 was like the evolved versions.
Well, yeah, they did. In Gen 4, they added both because there's you know the Pokemon Rosalia.
Yep. Okay, I remember. Yeah, and then like Pichu as well, right?
And they added Pichu in Generation 4 as well. And I think they might have put Happiny in Generation 4 as well, which is the pre-evolution to Chansey.
I was really hoping that's what that was. I was trying not to comment because I didn't recognize the name.
I got you.
Yeah, but I had every game up until a certain point. I think, actually, right now, I still have every game except Sun and Moon 2 and Sword and Shield. And listen, let me tell you, my deal with Pokemon is I just love the feel of a Pokemon game. You start the game, you train your Pokemon. I don't care how creative they are. Give me a rock with arms. Give me a stick with arms. Like, I just want a Pokemon game, right? But I have to say, I'm not too nitpicky, but the things they're doing more recently, like Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and Sword and Shield, I feel like they're trying to transition to mobile, and I don't like it. It's like games are also getting way too easy for starters. You actually had to like team build back in the day. Now it's like, oh, you use rock, I use water, I win big strong, and it like
Oh,
doesn't matter anymore.
It's literally, dude. Yeah, because I've been playing. The way that I played the games, is in 2016 I got Pokemon Pearl, so like a Gen 4 game. And
Gosh,
then
I
I
love Gen
got
4 so much.
it's my favorite 100.
I think that's my favorite.
And then I got a Gen 5 game, and then a Gen 6 game, and then a Gen 7 game. So I played through the generations, and I experienced the game getting easier. And in Sun and Moon, it is like not hard. You know, like it is so easy.
The Z moves are so stupid. I'm sorry. I hate them.
Yeah.
They're dumb
And it's
because
totally
like, what's the point of the fight?
And as if you have them in your Pokedex, or like if you've even encountered them before, you know exactly which moves are effective against them.
Yes.
It requires no memory.
Like I literally always forget. I always think that is fighting super effective on Dark.
Yes.
But like I always mix up stuff like that, and that's part of the game. You forgot, therefore
Yeah.
you're taking damage, and they're not. Like you should have to remember it, and it literally just says this move's super effective. This one's not. I'm like, well, I guess I'm switching Pokemon. I would have tried that, but thank you.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes.
I also don't. Also, no, thank you.
Yeah. I've spent half the reason I have hundreds of hours on my games is because I shiny hunt like a motherfucker.
Oh, okay. You're one of
It is
those.
not. Yeah. Come on. All right, look.
I don't have anything against you. It's just like you're just a different kind of player. That's all.
I have put too much time. I've got about like 50 shinies, including
My gosh.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Shiny Mewtwo, a couple shiny starters, a couple legendaries. It's too much time. My biggest.
Oh my gosh, shiny legendaries! Don't you just have to like restart the battle over and over?
You do, dude. But you do. It took me too long to get that Mewtwo. It took me like a couple weeks. But my biggest flex for one is I don't know how much you know about shiny hunting, but in the older games, the odds are way more. It's way harder to get shinies in the DS ones. So
Yeah.
black below is 1 in 8,000, and all the newer ones are 1 in 4,000. But on my original Game Boy Advance, I have a shiny Mudkip on my Pokemon Sapphire, which took me like about 4 or 5 months to find. And when I finally,
you can find it in the wild.
No, I was you know how when you decide what Pokemon you choose and you do the encounter trying to save them, I did that thousands of times, thousands and thousands.
Oh my gosh! Tell me you had like another game to play on the side while you were doing that.
I would shiny hunt. I would try and find the shiny Mudkip on there, and then I would have my 3DS and my DSi set up with other Pokemon games, and I would shiny hunt on them as well.
Oh, that's not what I had in mind. But okay. I was like, have a normal Pokemon experience over here. No, I was shiny hunting on 4 games at once. Okay.
I have shiny hunted on I think 3 at once is my best, and then been watching YouTube while doing it as well. But
dang,
it's a great flex. My actual biggest flex though is my Game Boy Advance. It's an extremely rare Game Boy Advance, which is only they only sold in New Zealand. Like,
lucky bastard.
And it's in basically perfect condition, dude. It's my greatest achievement is that my dad gave me.
I don't have any special devices, man. Like, the most special thing about my device collection is that the DSi has a Sonic case on it. That's not special at all. Well, you know what I do have? I do have an original Pokemon Yellow before they reprinted them. So that's something.
That's pretty good.
Amazon, that used to be worth like 170, but then they reprinted them, and it's like, well, it's not worth anything now. And I'm like, but it's original. It's like, yeah, but we just made exact copies, so it doesn't matter. I'm like, well, that's not cool.
Yeah, that ain't
Pokemon Blue used to be $400. I don't think it is anymore, unless maybe they kind of delegitimized the reprints. I don't know. But hey, man, I think. Go ahead.
I think they're worth a lot anyway because of how old they are.
Right, I would think so, but like literally the price had gone down, and that was very sad.
Oof, that's unfortunate.
But I'm sure in the future it's gonna be like, wait, but this one was printed first, so it'll like the price will go back up. But
And then
hey,
you'll be
man, I think we're just about at the end of our rope here with the recording time. The producers are knocking at the door.
Yeah.
They want to get the next people in.
Okay.
You know, it's that's them right there.
I can see myself
Hey,
out.
man, I think let's definitely maybe pick up the next episode we talk with Pokemon. I'm sure I'll have played. I'm probably a finished Moon by then.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll have a battle over during the podcast, dudes.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll have dabbled in shiny hunting by then, but I doubt it because I hate grinds. I love the adventure.
Yeah, then shiny hunting is not for you, my friend.
Yeah, no, I have one legitimate shiny, and it's only because someone traded it to me, and I don't know what on earth I offered them for that. But okay, real quick, there was this, and yes, judge me all you want, internet. But yes, I have played Roblox games, and there's one on there. It's Pokemon, and
Yeah.
if you ever wanted Pokemon to be an MMO, this is your game. No, I don't remember the name. Find it yourself. But there's a lot of them. But legitimately, I found a shiny Haunter on my first day, and I'm like, oh look, shiny rates are higher on this. Oh, that's not very special, is it? No. I just got really lucky, and I never saw another shiny the rest of the time I played that game. And guess what happened to that save file?
Is it still
Never
there?
saved.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'll just go on this route until I find another shiny Haunter. No, I actually got lucky, and I've never been more upset at anything in Pokemon in my life because
So unfortunate.
shiny Haunter is pitch white and it looks so freaking cool. I was so upset.
I gotta break it. It's only pitch white in the Roblox one.
Well, what does it look like normally?
The normal shiny Haunter has a blue tongue, and it's slightly darker. It's actually a really shit shiny. And
when was it released? Like, when was Haunter able to be shiny? Always?
It's been able to be shiny since like 2002.
What in the world?
Yeah,
maybe that was like some ultra like exclusive type thing. I don't know.
I mean, it wasn't official, right? So the person who made it probably just said, "This is a shit shiny. Let's make it a better one." Because I would love a white shiny one. That would be so fucking like sick.
It looked so cool. He was gonna be my favorite Pokemon and everything, and then just, oh wait, you didn't save? Whoops. Because like all Roblox games just save your progress automatically, except this one because they're like, we gotta be true to the games. I was so mad. But yeah, the producers are peeking in now, and they're making like throat slicing motions. It's making me a little uncomfortable. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I'll make my exit.
All right. Well, it's nice having you on, man.
Yeah, dude, it was a good time.
How do you feel being the first guest in the podcast, the way it was originally intended when we were going to have a two-man podcast?
I feel unbelievably honored, and if these producers would let me stay any longer, I would do like a 10-minute speech about how much I love it. But I'll just settle for fuck yes.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for this. So many people in our circle are excited for this.
Yeah.
Not to pat myself on the back, and I'm not, because I think 5 people will listen to this, but I am thoroughly excited and happy for this. I already have people that I think will be interested to come on, and I think you really set it off on the right tone there.
Oh yeah, man. I'm honored, and I'm keen to do it again, man. That's good times.
Yeah, man, for sure. You will be back on this podcast. It will happen.
That sounds like a plan, man.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap this up, and thank you everyone for listening. Say bye, Sundog.
Bye, Sundog.
Oh, we got a funny guy. He's got the jokes.
Yeah, that's me.
The producers are not laughing. They're not laughing. But yeah, guys. I'll see you next time on King's Kitchen. I hope you all have a lovely evening, morning, or whatever it is. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, good night.
Yeah. Good stuff.
How come when I was here, the words I said, do you not feel like a fool too? I feel like I'm blue, lonely.